sound intelligent mind. And when he reached out to me about the whole census discussion, that he thinks is a discussion that should be paramount right now, and Nigerians are not doing that. That he thinks this is one platform that we should use to talk about it. I felt, all right, let us do this. So he's gonna be here with us for the next hour, make his submissions, let us know why we should be discussing this, and we can ask questions and have this discussion with him here. My brother Chima, good evening.
Good evening, Saddam. Yes, I can hear you. Good evening.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing exceedingly great, thank you. How are you doing as well?
We are great. We are here. We are waiting. I think I'll just allow you right now for you to just own the space. Talk to us about the census. Me, I have not followed. I don't even know what's happening behind this. I don't know what's happening about the census. I've just been on elections.
Yes.
So I think you coming out here, you want to talk about the census. We are here. Let's listen to you. Why you think it is an important discussion we should be having by this time.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Like you introduced, my name is Chima Christian. I'm a public policy analyst.
Sorry, Chima.
Yes,
sorry,
please.
Chima. Is it the same Chima that reached out to me?
Chima Christian is my name?
Yeah, you reached out to me at the point in time. You sent me
one
Facebook video.
Yes. I believe I did. Yes.
Okay. All right. Go on. Go on.
Thank you. My name is Chima. I'm a public policy analyst. So I thank you guys, Violence Spaces, Emir, Saddam, Otumba, Sizu, and the rest, for Jimmy and everybody here for the platform. Mine this evening is to try to use your platform to raise awareness about the upcoming census, not to promote it in the sense that the Nigerian government has been doing, but to make a logical argument as to why I think Nigerians must have to get interested in the census and ask for a review of the systems and the processes the census will be conducted with. As you may be aware, the National Population Commission initially announced the National Census Exercise. It was supposed to hold between March 29 and April 2, 2023. However, the federal government rescheduled it to hold sometime in May, between May 3rd and May 5th, 2023, due to the rescheduled governorship and State House of Assembly elections. So even with the rescheduling now, my argument is that it's important that all of us should recall that Nigeria has never had a census that the outcome was not contested. Historically, in all through the census exercises Nigeria has had, there has been this argument about census, and the bone of contention has always been deliberate falsification of census numbers, especially at the state levels, right? And then that is also why I think Nigerians should pay attention to this census. The last one being in 2006, it was so rejected that even Lagos state government had to commission its own independent census because the state government rejected the outcome of the census. Why should Nigerians care about the census exercise? One, let's say for those who don't know, by our laws and conventions, the census data is heavily relied upon for things like resource sharing and other important considerations. Important delimitations such as the decision by INEC to create additional wards, additional polling units, even the deployment of data capturing devices during the CVR exercises and things like that are done based on census data. Even creation of federal and state constituencies are made partly reliant on census data. Of course, census data informs the revenue, resource sharing, and all of those things, especially as it accrues to local government areas and then state governments. So historically, anybody who has looked at the configuration within Nigeria knows that a lot of things can go wrong merely by manipulating census figures. In fact, census figures is part of the justifications, while it seems like when a certain section of the country votes, then we have to wait from quote-unquote KK states from certain countries. Nigerians have never known the population, the true demographic distribution of Nigeria's population, because some of those census exercises have not been done in the strictest manner, transparent manner, so to speak. So, and then Nigerians should worry about the upcoming census more than the elections, in my own analysis, because the elections, there is a judicial system of redress. If you're not satisfied with the elections, you can ask for a redress. You can go to the petition tribunal. You can go to the court, right? But in terms of census, if you look at our laws, and I'll mention specific parts of our laws when I'm going to the presentation, you will find that there is no room for judicial system of redress. Once the president accepts the census report, that's it. The only thing you can do is to talk about it, cry about it. And I like crying ahead of time. Like, I believe that it's of no good use to cry when the milk has been spilled. But when I see somebody about to spill a milk, I will try all my best to make sure that we don't spill that milk. And that is why I am doing what I am doing today, by trying to call the attention of Nigerians to what is going to happen if we let that happen. My fundamental argument is that the census has been rigged even before the first person is counted. And therefore, I am proposing that Nigerians force the federal government to postpone the census by at least 7 months. And I'm going to build my argument on 5 talking points. First is unaudited systems and processes. The second is mood of the country and possible attacks on NPC staff. Third is organizational capacity of the NPC. 4 is political pressure. And then 5 is general awareness of the public. Let me start from number 1, and then after I've exhausted these points, I'll welcome your questions and feedback. As at today, the NPC has received a substantial part of the resources it needs for the national exercise. Yet, all data-backed analysis suggests that the NPC as presently constituted and the systems and the processes it will be relying on for the exercise is highly likely to produce an unacceptable data. Given the circumstances, I reiterate, the ideal thing to do is for Nigerians to ask and insist and prevail on the federal government to postpone the census, subject the systems to audit and integrity tests. So first is unaudited systems. The NPC has signified its readiness to digitize this particular exercise. In fact, it claims on its website that the 2023 census will be Nigeria's first digital census and will change how census is being conducted in Nigeria. This claim is repeated by other public relations outings of that agency, right? Of that commission, rather. However, the systems and the processes NPC will be relying on. And when I say systems, it's not just systems, because when people hear systems, they will be talking about the servers, the PDAs, the passwords, and a whole lot of all of those things. But not just the systems, but the processes. Already they are claiming that they have acquired PDAs, and we were told it was supplied by Xenox, Computers, Leostar, and Eke. They said that those PDAs have geospatial whatever devices. They've been making a lot of claims. However, the systems that they are going to be using, the servers, the PDAs, how they work, the processes around them. For instance, what I mean by process is, who are you giving the PDA? What is the person going to do with the PDA? What is the strategic playbook from the first time they knock on my door to the time my demographic data reflects on the server? So nobody knows that strategic playbook. And then that playbook has not been critiqued by Nigerians. Those systems have not been evaluated by Nigerians. And so my point is that we are now walking into another major exercise blind if we allow them to go into this exercise with unexamined systems and processes. That's why I'm inviting Nigerians, especially the stakeholders. By stakeholders, I mean people like violence space, the media, civil society, including the people who will feel injured by a rigged census exercise, especially those people who feel that they are who are quote-unquote ethnic minorities, maybe some parts of Nigeria. You already know the demographic data, so I'm not going to be nitpicking. So because I know you have a diverse audience here, right? And so those people in their clusters, maybe Yorubas represented by Afenifere, a Southwest Governors Forum, the Igbos represented by Ohaneze Ndigbo, Southeast Governors Forum, are making a case that these people group should nominate technical committees that will go and inspect everything from start to finish, both the systems, the processes, and the strategic playbook of what the NPC is doing. We are going to do this as a way to retain confidence in the systems and the processes. Going by what happened in the last elections, I believe that this is not too much to ask, that NPC is forced to open up its books and systems so that Nigerians will interrogate these systems. Not because when I say these things, I don't confuse it in any way with public relations stunts that they've been doing. PR stunt is different from multi-stakeholder audit and integrity tests, right? So what I'm calling is for all the stakeholders in Nigeria, including people here on Violence Space, to use their platforms to prevail on the federal government to avail Nigerians represented in their clusters these systems and the processes for these systems to be critiqued. Where we don't have the resources to critique it individually, we will hire consultancy firms to do that on our behalf at no cost to the federal government. So that is number one. My argument in closing is that NPC should not be allowed to conduct a major national exercise with unaudited systems and processes. Because if we allow them to do that, then the outcome is easy to predict. That's why I'm calling on people on violence space to use their platforms to prevail on the federal government to postpone the exercise and subject these systems to multi-stakeholder audit and integrity tests. Number two is the mood of the country. Nigeria is currently tensed, and I heard some of the comments that you've been making before now. The fuel scarcity, the naira scarcity leading into the elections, the anger of the people that INEC did not live up to the expectations, did not even follow their own guidelines, and the judicial topsy-turvy of the election petition, including the media ruckus around it, has put the nation in a very sort of tensed mood, right? And because the nation is tensed, it is going to be a highly risky venture for the NPC to soldier on with its plans to conduct the census this close to the elections. Not just that the elections happen, but the elections are being contested and people are not happy about the outcome. And make no mistake, people are not querying who won the elections. I believe that people are reacting this way because of the processes that led to the person who is claimed to have won the elections. So if people are this angry, it will be unfortunate for you to send innocent enumerators to go and knock on certain doors. I'll give you this instance. Imagine the people who were not allowed to vote in Lagos a few weeks ago. People who were flogged out of their polling units, people who were harmed, people who were maimed. We now receive reports that some people were killed just because they wanted to vote. You couldn't allow them to vote. And then a few weeks after, you're knocking on their doors and you want to count them as part of the Lagos population. Close your eyes and imagine what that kind of situation will be. Also close your eyes and imagine what the reaction of a possible Nigerian who had not had food to eat. Look at all the economic conditions. Okay, finally, we're now receiving some, cash, injecting cash into the system. But imagine everything that is going on, and the father who is unable to feed his children, and you, unfortunate person, is knocking on his door to ask him how many kids he has, how many square meals they eat, how many toilets they have in their house. Don't be unfortunate. Allow the anger in the land to simmer down a bit before going into conducting a major national exercise. So that will be my second argument. The third argument, and this third one has, I think, 3 or 4 branches, is the organizational capacity of the NPC. Like most institutions in Nigeria, the recruitment, reward, command and control structure within the NPC has made it difficult for that organization to hire and retain talents. Even when talented people accidentally show up on the scene, they usually go or leave the organization or succumb to the dominant culture within the organization. Additionally, if you consider the manner of appointment of the chief executive officer of that commission and the national commissions, it has made it difficult, really difficult for Nigeria to command their allegiance, right? So such allegiances are mainly to the president and to the individuals who facilitated their appointments. A case in point is Section 213 of Nigeria's Constitution, and then Sections 2B and Sections 5 of the NPC Act, right? I will go into details when I want to summarize. So furthermore, the NPC, while it had continued to run skeletal operations, they conducted the mixed survey, they conducted the health survey, they conducted quite a number of surveys since 2006, but that organization has not deployed nationally since 2006. It has not done any major national exercise. So if we are to consider the natural law of attrition, it is only fair to expect that the cumulative productive capacity within that organization has atrophied due to lack of full deployment in nearly 2 decades. So to bridge this gap, they are coming up with trainings and retrainings. And however, poor funding and corruption within the system have largely rolled back the expected benefits of such trainings. As at today, what I know is that NPC had bungled its internal training schedules. They have postponed. That is, it has been a mess, the training. So it is not just enough to claim that you are training your field officers. Nigerians must be made aware of these trainings. Who is monitoring them in these trainings? Not just signing off papers and saying that you've trained. These trainings, in most of the instances, are not held. If they are held, what is the quality of the training? So I am inviting Nigerians to critique. Part of the processes we are going to critique is what are the layers of trainings and who was there when you trained? I'm saying that in this day and age, Nigerians should not trust blindly or wait for things to happen before they complain. If we allow NPC, the more than likely thing that is going to happen is that NPC will roll out enumerators and staff who are not knowledgeable about the systems they're going to use. Just like we saw some people within the INEC who did not know how to fully manipulate the devices that were given to them because of poor training. As at today, I've told you that they've bungled their internal training models. Even today, the people who are going to be enumerators come May 5th, less than a month, the recruitment has not even been concluded. They are going to be relying on about 700,000 contract staff to do this exercise. These people who are going to be doing this exercise, some of them don't even know that they have been accepted or rejected, let alone knowing what their training schedules will be like. So I'm saying that Nigerians must look at the organizational capacity to be sure if you're training, don't just tell us that you're training. People from violence space should be able to monitor the trainings and report that it was held. The media should be there. The representatives of the groups I've mentioned before should be there to report on the trainings that it was indeed done. That is number 2. Then number 3, even the 700,000 additional, ad hoc staff that they are going to be relying on, the processes of recruiting this staff could have been more transparent. We hear stories about governors recommending people, politicians recommending people, lawmakers recommending people, and a whole lot of those usual things that happens with Nigeria's recruitment processes. So even that within that small recruitment that they did, the question, it leaves a lot to be desired. So that is that on the organizational capacity. So my argument is that Nigeria is about to embark on a long distance journey with a vehicle that has been packed for 16 years. Take it or leave it, the NPC has been packed for nearly 16 years. Before there was COVID-19, nobody had heard of the NCDC, apart from the few instances where we had Lassa fever and I think the cholera outbreak. But during the COVID-19, people began to hear of NCDC. Today, NCDC had taken the back seat. That is the same thing that happens to commissions and organizations in Nigeria. Once you are doing any major national exercise, you're on the front burner. After that, they relegate you to the back seats. That is what has happened to the NPC in nearly 16 years. So if we are going to revive this vehicle that has been packed for 16 years, we need to be sure that the vehicles have been serviced, not just taking it to the mechanic and dumping it there. We need to be sure that they have serviced it, pumped the tires, greased the oil, the parts, and all of those things. Second to the last, and then I'll draw the curtain on this, is political pressure. Since population distribution is a major consideration in sharing of Nigeria's resources, especially ones accruing to the state and local governments, and it's also an important consideration in other important delimitations, such as creation of additional polling units, deployment of data enrollment devices during the CVR exercise, creation, even the justification of rigged election, for instance, is made predicated on census figures. So because of that, there is this motivation by key actors to deliberately manipulate census figure at the subnational level. So additionally, Nigeria's institutions are built around strong men. For instance, one of the dominant narratives before going into the 2023 general elections was President Muhammadu Buhari's legacy. And those who had been following census knew that there was a time we wanted to do census in 2016. And Buhari's cold feet towards the conduct of that census, actually since his government came into 2015 and Nigeria was due in 2016, it was well documented, right? So if there are suspicions as to why the government, Buhari's government in this case, is hell-bent on conducting a census this close to the end of his tenure, especially after supervising a disappointing general elections, those doubts should stand justified. Moreover, those of us who had seen the Buhari's government in nearly 8 years, the 95 percenters, the 5 percenters, lopsided appointments, inability to manage Nigeria's diversity, promotion of sectional interest, weakened institutions, ECT, the cardinal question should now be, do Nigerians have enough confidence that a census overseen by President Muhammadu Buhari's government will have a credible outcome? A census in which the true population of Nigeria, with its rightful and accurate demographic distribution, is determined. So if the answer is no, why then should we agree to be railroaded into an exercise this close to the end of Buhari's tenure? Why not wait for a new government to be formed, allow the new government to settle in, and then the new government carries out the important task of conducting a census? Even more importantly, is that at the local level, at the governors, the level of state governors, especially state governors in some places that I will leave unnamed, will have that kind of pressure to pressure INEC staff, whether they are pressuring them at the subnational level, at the national level, at the regional level, at the local level. If we find that these people can be pressured, then be sure that those pressures will be deployed. Then, much more importantly, is the pressure mounted on the leadership of the NPC by Section 213 of Nigeria's Constitution, especially 213 subsection 5B. Let me read that 213, and that's where I will close. Where the Council of State advises the President to reject the census upon the ground that the population census contained in the report is inaccurate, that the report is perverse, the President shall reject the report. So, Section 213 of the Constitution has solely given the President and the Council of State the powers to accept or reject the census. No court can intervene. Once the President accepts, it is that. Even if the whole country wants, let them cry blood. Once the President accepts, it is that. It is finished. And then once he rejects the census, the law says that all the national commissioners in NPC and the chairman will resign immediately. So therefore, if you have allowed the President, in this case Buhari, who will determine whether the census was accurate or not, and once he determines that it is inaccurate, 37 commissioners in NPC will lose their jobs that day, then you begin to imagine the kind of pressure that is being deployed on these people, even by our own laws. That now, that their whole effort is not to conduct a nationally accepted census, but one in which the commander-in-chief will accept, and that is the only person who will give them a pass mark. And then mind you, that our laws does not, in fact, in 2006 census, and in the previous census exercises, NPC did not show all workings. Any elementary student of mathematics will understand what I mean by show all workings. Show all workings mean if you had conducted a census and you say that Nigeria is 300 million or 500 million or whatever the number is, that you expected to show how you arrived at that numbers. Even as at today, NPC is still to release the raw data of 2006 census because they are not duty bound by law to release that data. So NPC can go into their coven, do whatever they want to do, and tell Nigerians to accept it. And they cannot release their data to external validators to validate the data that they have harvested, to show how they arrived at that numbers. If you say that Kanu is 10 million or 20 million or 40 million, how did you arrive at that? Can we see the demographic data? Can we see the raw data? NPC is not going to show all workers. They did not do. Even as at today, 17 years or 16 years after, we don't know the raw demographic data of the 2006 census. And if that is still in play, then NPC will go ahead and announce whatever it wants to announce, reliant on porous systems and processes, and researchers will not be able to see the end result to compare output. Unlike elections where INEC is compelled to produce BVAS reports, produce server reports, even produce the ballot papers, even produce... No, NPC is not mandated to produce anything. They are not owing us any explanation. They just go into their coven, do what they want, and then tell us that this is it. Once the president accepts it, it's officially gazetted, it becomes the law. And then you don't even have judicial system of redress. You only have to wait for another 10 or 20 years to be able to redress the wrongs that were did in the previous exercise. Having said this, in conclusion, there has always been this argument that people congregate more around the coastline than they do in arid regions. Nigeria's claimed population distribution seems to be the only disagreement to this. A credible census will either prove or dispel some of the tightly held notions about Nigeria's demographic distribution. Given historical precedents and a careful analysis of our census ecosystem, the outcome of this census, if we allow them to conduct it as they are planning, is already predetermined, even before the first person is counted. If we fail to insist on a credible census by imploring on them to first allow us to critique their systems and the processes and all of those things. Oh, by the way, before I conclude, the fifth point is that there is no awareness about this thing. Nigerians don't, even as I myself, I've been working on NPC for close to 4 months now. I've been working on their systems. I don't even know which law they are conducting the census on. If you Google, there is the NPC Act of 1989. It's on the internet. The NPC Act of 2004 is not on the internet. It's not on NPC website. There is the National Population Policy of, I think, 2019. That is available on the public space. But even the guidelines that NPC will be using is not publicly available. People don't even know that there will be census, let alone knowing what the laws states, what to expect from the census. Even the media, and I've written to several media organizations to say, critique the census before it happens. And I don't like the defensive approach of Nigeria's traditional media. They will allow things to happen and they will start crying. I've said to them, critique the census before it happens. They say, oh no, we'll wait for NPC to do something, and then in reaction, we will now try to. I say, no, if they're going to conduct a measurement exercise, it is left for you to call them to come and show us how they are going to do that. And if we have objections, we raise it now, not crying afterwards. So that will be it. The action plan will be why I came to this platform. It's not to complain or to regurgitate problems. One is that I'm calling on people groups to organize in their clusters, whether they be Christian Association of Nigeria, Ohaneze Ndibo, Southeast Governors Forum, or Fenifere, Ohaneze Southwest Governors Forum, South Governors Forum, civil society groups, even the media. First, to use the media, including possibly calling for press conferences, to ask for the exercise to be postponed or halted by at least a factor of 7 months, pending the time all gray areas affecting the census have been addressed. Number 2 is to follow up on a consistent media advocacy, which may include mobilizing resource persons to appear on TV, radio, or violent spaces to canvass similar viewpoints. This is to be complemented by pushing out, of course, a sustained push on the social media, Twitter spaces, Facebook lives, and all of those things. Then I'm begging groups who can to appoint technical committee. If something as important as census is to be happening, I expect the Nigerian Bar Association to appoint a technical committee. I expect Nigeria Civil Society to appoint a technical committee. I expect the Southeast Governors Forum to appoint a technical committee. I expect South Governors Forum. I know now some of these governors are outgoing governors, but this census will happen before they go. And in fact, the way they are rushing the census, they will conclude the census on May 5th. And before May 10th or May 12th, they have gazetted the census and it becomes a law, becomes an official document even before Buhari leaves on May the 29th. So I'm begging this set of governors or whoever, let them appoint a technical committee to interface with the federal government to impress it on them to delay this census. And then the 4 is to deploy internal lobby mechanisms. Those who can should lobby people within the federal government and other relevant stakeholders, including the Igwes, the prominent guys, you know, I might not list all of them here, on the need to postpone this exercise. We have to prevail on the government to grant access to all those who could be injured by a flawed census, to appoint technical committees to conduct forensic audits and integrity tests on NPC systems and processes. These parties may include, like I've mentioned before, CAN, Ohaneze, PANDEV, Afenifere, Middle Belt Forum, their counterparts from other regions, regional governors forums, media, civil society, people on the social media space, including violence space, which has earned its right, and elder development partners. To consider hiring a consultant or consulting firms who will interrogate NPC systems and processes on behalf of some of these organizations or people groups I've mentioned, and give a feedback to them as to whether they should retain the kind of confidence they need to walk into those the census with those systems that have been trusted. Then to mobilize broad consensus among those who could be possibly injured. So instead of the Southeast Governors Forum doing things alone, they should see if they can mobilize broad consensus within the region, within the South-South-Southeast, within the South-South-Southeast, Southwest, and possibly Middle Belt, right? To mobilize that broad consensus for them to make a concerted effort at convincing the federal government to open up these systems.
Sorry.
And then, can I close on this, please?
Yeah, go ahead, close. Go ahead.
Then, to prevail on the NPC to turn in their raw data at the end of the exercise, it must be made a law that if you have finished and you announce a census, that you must show all workings. And then finally, to prevail on the next session of the National Assembly, to amend Section 213 of the Constitution, to amend relevant sections of the NPC Act, and to amend relevant sections of the National Policy on Population. These 3 documents must be amended: Section 213 of the Constitution, some sections of the NPC Act, and then the National Policy on Population. These 3 things will be amended before Nigeria can get a census that is nearly free, fair, and credible. So I thank you so much for the opportunity. I will now sit back and invite questions, comments, or contributions.
Thank you so much, Chima. Thank you so much. I mean, my brother, this is the first time I've had in-depth analysis on the Nigerian population census. I have no idea
I mean, I'm cognizant of the census here in the U.S., but yeah. So, yeah, thank you so much for that. I know people have questions. Who has questions or submissions? Let's start with. Let me see. Ebuka, my brother. Good evening. Sorry, is Ebuka there? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. No, I was asking to the audience, please, if you have questions.
I can hear you, Otumba.
Yeah, if you have questions, please indicate. Let's know. My brother, so when is the census itself? When is it taking place? Do you have a date for this?
Yes, the date is May 3 to May 5th, 2023. That's first week of next month, less than 1 month.
That is pretty close. And believe me, I know how much census is used to manipulate things, manipulate resources. So yes, this is something. Ejikeme, come in, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Otumba, and thank you for giving us this very insightful breakdown of the upcoming census. My question is, first of all, the amount of money that has been earmarked for this particular census you have just talked about that is coming up in May. I want to ask, are they going to count human beings, goats, animals, spirits, even our ancestors in the other realm with that amount of money? You know, because I don't understand why a country that already has trillions of naira in debt, and then Buhari seems to be like he is giving us another parting shot is that number of billions. So that's my question. And then two, I think I understand that there hasn't been a lot done on the citizens about this exercise. So in my opinion, I would stand by what you're saying, that we should just forget about this census for now, postpone it till when a new government is formed, a credible government is formed, not a government of drug baron and criminals. And then we can now rearrange this setup. But please, is this money earmarked for this census correct? If I am wrong, and why should it be that high? Are they counting spirits too? Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, I didn't particularly want to include that in my analysis because it's almost a generally accepted tradition in Nigeria. For instance, it was 2 or 3 days ago that our federal minister, Hadi Sirika, said he bought, yes, please. Hadi Sirika said he bought, I think, 10 fighting trucks as a 12 billion. I mean, and I've seen something flying around on social media. I've not taken my time to verify whether it's true or not. But again, I don't like relying my analysis on information on social media. So if I'm wrong in this, pardon me. But I've seen comparative analysis of what the population in those countries are, the amount of money they budgeted for their census exercise, and what that is in Nigeria. I mean, the amount of money they quoted is ridiculous. And the places these monies are going into is also so ridiculous. You wouldn't believe the amount of money that is going into trainings. And then in the trainings, people will sit down in their offices and write off these monies, and the trainings will not be held. That is why I'm saying, if you're going to be conducting trainings, don't just conduct. People must be there to see that you have conducted the trainings. The media must be there, not just doing it in the middle of the night, right? And then writing off monies. And apart from that, they said there was one software they said they acquired with 2.3 billion. And then the thing is that, I mean, it was approved by the Federal Executive Council to approve acquisition of a software, just not the hardware, the software, for that amount of money. And then at the end of the day, the software may end up working like the Beavers or the IRF. I mean, it's so ridiculous what is happening in Nigeria. If you're going to go into money, and finally on this, if they're going to be spending this money, believe me, it is borrowed money and going to be repaid by taxpayers. If they're going to be spending that amount of money and they will conduct a credible census, Nigerians can at least forgive them. The double tragedy, according to Fela, for double wahala for that body, is that you're going to spend this amount of money and then you conduct a sham of an exercise, that will be double tragedy. That's why I'm even comfortable with them. I don't like it, but as the way Nigeria is with all the corruption that is going on, I'm even comfortable with them stealing money by conducting good census than for them to steal all this amount of money or possibly misappropriate. Let me just tone down my language. To possibly misappropriate or inflate contracts, and at the end of the day, the machines will not be working, the PDAs will not be working, the GPS station they said they acquired may be non-existent, and all of those things. So that will be my answer to you, my brother.
Thank you, Chima. Otuma, honestly, Buhari is a devil. This man doesn't want to destroy this country. You know that, prior to now, we take things lightly in this country. When we say NPC have destroyed every fabric of this country, it's like we're just saying there is no one institution that NPC have not destroyed, not one. And it's now I'm trying to understand the weight of census. This census, when Chima said it, he said for him, census is more important than the elections. Honestly speaking, as it stands right now like this, there is nothing more important. There is nothing more important than that census. But the way it's going on, I'm wondering why.
In the US, census determines so many things.
Why does Buhari want to grant two census? Who sends him?
No, it's intentional.
Few days to where you're leaving office. What are you planning to gain? I'm just thinking about the whole stuff right now. What is the gain? What is the end point of conducting a census less than a month to when you leave office? Buhari, what is your gain? I just want to ask you one question.
Yes, please. Yes.
Because I'm very pro solution. I'm pro solution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro solution right now. What can Nigerians do to stop this? That's just my question.
I believe that Nigeria democracy is, in my own estimation, democracy works on demand and supply. Seeing how all critical institutions in Nigeria have collapsed, expecting them to do the right thing will be waiting for Godot. That's why I think that we should begin now to police all government agencies, police them back to back. Everything they do, before they do it, we critique them. We don't just trust INEC again, we critique their next election. INEC will not know what will hit them because Nigerians will follow them bumper to bumper. So one is for Nigerians to shout, using all the platforms available to them, that they will not accept census, that they don't want the census now, that the census should be postponed. Make no mistake, this is not to be confused with boycotting. I don't endorse boycotting of census. You see, the issue with boycotting of census is that there is never going to be a time when you will get 100% compliance of census. So if you say that you're boycotting and the other person goes ahead to count, whatever they count is the official census figure. And people have tried it in this country before, where they told people to boycott the census, that if they boycott the census, that their imaginary land flowing with milk and honey will come the next day. And we saw how it ended. That census had been there for nearly 20 years, and Nigeria's resources had continued to be predicated on those census numbers. So now is for Nigerians to use all efforts, all platforms available to them, to call for it to be postponed. That the security situation is not right, that all the things we had discussed earlier is not right for these people to conduct census, for it to be postponed. Those who can buy media slots can buy slots on the traditional media platforms. Those who can use social media, like I'm grateful that you are inviting me to discuss this. Look, I can show you letters I've written to traditional media platforms, begging them to invite me to come and discuss census on their platforms. And they're telling me, oh no, and it's silly excuses. But I know what they want. Once people mobilize to pay for slots there. So people who can pay for slots should by all means pay for slots. If those slots are paid for, I can go there to make my arguments, or there are other competent people who can also equally make good arguments on this. So use traditional media and the regular media to ask for this census to be postponed. Then those who are in touch with key stakeholders, for instance, the Labour Party now has a platform or mouth in Nigeria. They can query the systems and the processes as a party. Maybe not as Peter will not do that directly, but the Labour Party may question it as a party, as a leading opposition party in Nigeria. That platform can be used. Then those who are close to governors, governorship candidates, including members of House of Representatives elect, senators elect, especially those under the platforms that we like, we can ask them to use their voices to ask for these things to stop. We can force the Christian Association of Nigerians, and by the way, we're going to make presentations to them. We can force all these clusters to demand Nigerians must demand, because if we demand, the thing with Nigeria is once people are about to do something, for instance, the Ruga, once you shout, they stop. But if they propose any policy, especially these policies that they like to propose in the night, like declaring election results in the night, like Nigerians don't even know that the census is coming, and they are tiptoeing around the census deliberately. Before Nigerians wake up in the morning, they had counted and finished and gazetted it. It becomes an official document. So Nigerians should police them to make sure that they ask for it to be postponed. And where we have asked for it to be postponed and we have exhausted all the, including maybe using the legal means, people should sue them. Lawyers here, I am not a lawyer, should look at their preparation and see if there are ones that are actionable. Those who can conduct protests should conduct protests, lead protests to perhaps NPC offices, asking them to reschedule the exercise. Those who have the media should use the media. Civil society groups should write. I'm also speaking to both, what do you call them now? These polling firms in Nigeria, especially ones with credibility. I'm sharing some of the data I have with them on census because some of them seem to have more credibility. Maybe when they write on these issues, other Nigerians may be jolted into action. So those will be my short ideas around it. But this is not exhaustive, so people here can contribute on how they feel we can stop the census exercise or at least get it to be delayed by 7 months.
Thank you, my brother. A friend of mine is a dear man, and the person said the end point is to steal and ensure the next government spends over 70% of their revenue on the northern region. No census will be conducted. Numbers will just be given and allocated. And as usual, you know the region that they will give the list. Mm-hmm. And with every census conducted, the number that they give is how they share allocations in this country. This fucking Buhari wants to, as living, reclaim all the CN. God have mercy. God have mercy. We cannot shout. Because I think we'll start right now with the hashtag. I think we will start changing the hashtag now because for me I'm already all out already because I've already seen the end game of where this want to go to. I don't know if you're seeing it already. Because play like that.
So I see though they right now they're gonna target, so 3 regions are gonna benefit from it. And some other regions are not going to. I already know the regions are benefiting from it. And I don't want the northeast, the northwest, the southwest.
The southwest is in doubt too. The southwest is in doubt. I can tell you that for free.
Well, okay. I mean, let me put them on the scale of those on benefit. Will be at least there. And census is used for resource allocation and so many things. Election numbers. Beaver has already exposed, certain numbers that we usually see. We didn't see them anymore. So this census, man, I see what you're saying. That it's actually, it's sort of saying
there is no reason why Otumba, the outgoing government, should conduct this.
To be doing it, yes.
There is no reason. There's no reason.
Especially the same one that bungled a simple election that cost half the fraction. How much is this census compared to the election?
There is no reason why Buhari's administration, the worst administration in the history of Nigeria, of mankind, by Afghanistan, should be conducting the census on Nigeria. There is no reason. So, you see, I say this, but the body that devil, because see, as the conquerors give us fake elections, they pursue election, he still won't kill us. But which kind of Nigerians, if we don't kill APC, I talk this thing for the past 9 months. If we don't kill APC will kill us. They are after our lives.
That's already killing us, that you said they will kill us.
Oh my God. Please, Sarah, go on, please.
Chima, that was actually a very good one. But there is something I actually wanted to ask.
Yes, please.
This issue, the NPC, and them not having a concrete constitutional backing to release whatever data that they compute or they claim to compute. Is there any constitution or has anyone done any research?
Hi, Sarah. Is it from my phone? The last thing I heard is research.
I think she got a call or something.
Okay, I'll be more than happy to hear the concluding part of your question.
I know it was nice to see that. Yeah. She might come back. I think she got a call.
Oh, okay. So
please, guys, if you have suggestion for hashtag, please just, I don't know, is it postponed 2023 census?
Yes, postponed by 7 months and then allow the systems to be critiqued.
want the hashtag to be something that is
Okay.
just short. I think postpone 2023 census.
Cancel 2023 census, postponed by 9 months.
No,
By that time, we must have finished our tribunal.
Yes.
Not cancel. Let's postpone it. It should be postponed because the census needs to be held. A real census needs to be held in Nigeria. So all these fictitious numbers we get from so many places, we can really ask. Let us really find out. Let's really find out how many are we in this country. This country with us will reach 200 million. Now!
Because Otumba said something now that is mind-blowing. Beavers demystified that large number, that 1.9 of...
Yes, now they are still voting in Meduguri till last week. They are still voting on printing.
A Boko Haram turned region like Borno State couldn't make up to 700,000 votes, in this election. Beavers has demystified a lot of things, my brother. So, if anything is to go by, the outgoing Buhari administration has no business with giving us a census that will predict revenue allocation and sharing for the next generation to come. It's not done anywhere. It's not done anywhere. Let's not beat about the bush in this particular issue. Buhari's government is as good as gone. So he has no business with census, especially in the month he's going to hand over. What kind of rubbish is this?
God. Thank you, my brother. Please, sir, I can go on if you can hear me.
Yeah, sorry, apologies here. My phone kept ringing. So I was asking, has anybody actually confirmed that the NPC does not have any constitutional backing to release whatever data that they have? Because if they don't, that is a huge criminality. Like, that is where we need to start from first. That how can we not have any legal backing on the people that we're supposed to be counting on to provide these numbers, these same numbers that is used in every single resource sharing that we have in this country. So I want us to actually really do confirm that. And also this quote and unquote new technology that NPC claims to have right now. Don't get me talking about their technologies, because that was how they came with their IRF and Beaver. I mean, it actually did help us, but they still looked for ways that they will go against those technologies. Now, can we actually have maybe a thread or an explanation about these technologies? Let's look at it. Let's see what they do. Let's see what they're expected to do. Let's see how they are being backed up. Let's see if there's any back end way or motive to hack them or destroy the data in them or access and infiltrate the data in them. So I really want to know, because I mean, if we're going to start making noise, we need to start making the right noises.
Mm-hmm.
We need to start making the right noises. And we need to also remember that Nigeria in itself, we've only had the last time we had the census was in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
We have other countries that have recently had census. I mean, India just concluded their census, was it last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think 2021. Indonesia.
2020. US is on 2020. Yeah.
Indonesia, they also have they have more numbers than we do in the country. So I don't understand. And these people did not even spend up to $400 million. So why the hell is Nigeria spending 1.8? Like, I don't even know where to start from. Because it's not even million that we're talking about here. It's not million. We're talking about countries that have higher numbers than we do as a nation as a whole. They have more numbers than we do, and they're not even spending as much. These countries are spending $300 million, $400 million. We're not spending $500 million. We're not spending $600 million. We're not spending $700 million. No, $800 million is too small for these greedy politicians to steal. We're spending $1.8 billion for a census.
Is that how much we are spending for this census?
Yes!
1.8 billion.
1.8 billion, yeah.
Ah!
For a country that has 77 trillion.
No, $1.8
billion is what has been included by NPC to be used to count. Maybe they want to, when they finish counting me, they'll count all the bones in my body and confirm that I have 365 bones. I mean, how many bones did they decide they we all have? Because I don't even understand. Maybe when they're done counting me, they'll count the Spirit and then the Holy Spirit and then the Spirit that entered me during baptism. They'll count everything.
Blood of Jesus.
Because I don't know. I don't get what is happening. And we keep letting these things slide. I don't understand how we sit down and continue to take this criminality. How can an idiot come and tell me that he bought 10 freaking fire trucks? 10 fire, 10! I'm not even talking about 100, 10! We keep letting it slide. And like I say all the time, it's either we're not angry yet or we are not angry enough. But for this issue of census, let us confirm if truly there is no constitutional backing for NPC to tell us the data that they have. That is the problem. That is where we need to start addressing. Because that means they've already planned, right from the very first census started, not to actually be accountable for the numbers we have in this country. And that is where we have to start from. We can pay every single front page paper in this country to start pushing out these narratives. I just want to ask, to the general public out there, are we totally 100% sure that there's no constitutional backing for NPC to post their data, and as well as the technologies that they're using?
Okay.
Do they truly have these technologies? Are they truly using it? Can it be hacked?
Let me answer to two specific parts of your questions, my dear sister, Sarah.
Please,
Yes,
Chima,
please go ahead, sir.
You know, on this platform, we like facts and figures, and there's the power of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I wish NC was here. There's a power when you hear numbers. You know, when you tell Nigerians $1.8 billion, they don't understand. But you see, when Sarah started saying $800 million, $900 million, $1 billion, let me translate it to Naira.
Okay.
Buhari's government that wants to leave by May 29th want to spend 869 billion naira. 869 billion naira on census and 30 days to when they will leave office.
That money, they have been drawing down on it since 2021. That money is part of the reasons why they asked the National Assembly to, of course, you know that the capital component of 2022 budget is still running. They extended the 2022 budget to 2023. They made another extension so that they will keep drawing down on that money. So Sarah is right that it's a huge mess, Nigerians. And what they are banking on is on the assumed gullibility of Nigerians, or the that Nigerian public is easy to manipulate, that they will get us to focus on tribunal, get us to focus on whether Buhari is in London or not. By the way, we don't have business with whether Tinubu is in London or lying down or sleeping, because that should not be our concern. Where many important things are cooking underneath. And then one day down, after 7 or 10 days after we've shouted, the man will now appear in one place, and then we all start saying, okay, well, my point is that you asked about whether it is confirmed, Sarah. Yes. There are several groups that have done extensive work on this, and I've mentioned to you what I presented to you took me 4 months to arrive at. That's
Sorry,
4 months.
Chima, do you have any link you can post or?
Yes. I'm going to post links. Maybe after I had done speaking, I'm posting links under this particular tweet. People who had done work, TC Africa, all of them had done substantive work on this, and I'm going to share with links what they had done. And if you are in doubt, go to section 213 of Nigeria's constitution, and then you will see that they don't have any. In fact, there was a court case instituted against them in 2006, trying to mandate them to release their data. They didn't release it even till now to researchers. All those things are available in the public. They are scattered on the internet. So if you take your time to research them, you will find them. But I will share with you some of the links I've had already. Finally, on Sarah Ibrahim's submission, on what she submitted about unaudited processes. The systems, the servers, the PDAs, passwords, the strategic playbook will have to be operated by individuals who have varying degrees of influence over this system. So not just acquiring PDAs or beavers or INEC, whatever name you call it. The system will still be operated by individuals. In the course of my research, I spoke 3 times to a doctor of computer sciences with special interest in human interactions with computers, or with systems. Her own specialty is not just in designing systems, but in human interactions with design systems. And that is why when I hear people make the argument that beavers worked well, that it is the people who manipulated the beavers, I then say to them, well, this is the argument that you can make to a layman. Anytime you are designing a system, you are designing a system with real life usage, real life application. The tire must meet the road, right? So if you are designing a system, you're going to give to 700,000 people. And if there is a leakage in the system, you don't expect them to plug the leak, to use the leakage to their advantage. And so if you have designed a porous system, for instance, in the case of beavers was substantially compromised. One of the ways it was compromised was that people who were supposed to give the coppers access to the portal failed to give them the passwords. So as little as withholding passwords, it can compromise everything you have done with the beavers. Same thing with the PDAs. They said they have acquired geospatial devices. They're making a lot of claims. In fact, the thing is that the Nigerians are not even paying attention to them, right? Even their claims, when we begin to critique their claims, you will see that maybe they are not entirely true. So I invite Nigerians to do more work in this regard.
Chima, yeah, I just wanted to quickly add that if because I don't really have a grasp of the entire constitution as a whole, but if truly the NPC is not given any constitutional or legal rights to actually let us know the data that they count, that is the first thing that we need to start fighting, and we would need to actually start putting it in every media space. We need to start trending it. Because you cannot tell me that you came to my house to count me and I don't have any data to see it that, okay, let me confirm that in this particular place or in this particular estate, this particular local government, this is what you counted. It's actually that is the height of illegality. And I saw some people in tagging me and asking, oh, is it true? I think this asking if it's true about the amount of money NPC plans to spend for the census. You can just throw it into Google and confirm. It's not just 1.8 billion. It's 1.88. They won't even ask us to add 800,000 naira in the 8 million in the billion.
$800,000.
They don't thank you. It's even in dollars. It's $1.88 billion. And hear this loud, Nigerians. Countries that are times 3 of what we claim we are. Countries that are times 4 of what we claim we are have spent just $400 million, $300 million for a census. Nigeria, that is not even half of them, has imputed to spend $1.88 billion. I think if we're not making noise about it, and for the fact that they plan to do it from May 3rd to May 7th, and they're not even publicizing it so much. I'm telling you, if you enter your estates right now, and if you ask the most elite person that you know about census, they don't know the dates. They don't know that it's next month. They don't know they don't even know it's 3 weeks from now. So it should tell you that I don't know what these people are cooking, but this is actually wrong, and this is the height of illegality that we're talking about. If Peter Obi gets back when Peter Obi gets back his mandate, you want to come and tell PO face to face, you want to spend $1.8 billion for census. You want to come and tell him face to face, and that's what he plans. I trust him. You won't even be able to even open your mouth to say such rubbish. But for these people to continue to have the guts to spit out these fictitious and ridiculous figures, and we have a commander-in-chief that sits down and does nothing about it and allow them to always get away with this rascality. It shows that the rascality is not just in these people, but it's also in the commander-in-chief who sits down and always watches it happen. We can't continue to sit down and take it because it's ridiculous. It's getting too much. We can't be sitting down and be saying that, oh, the minimum wage in Nigeria is 30,000 naira. You go to the street and the average guy that is working his ass off cannot even get that 30,000 naira. We have so much money, so much resources in this country that is being mismanaged in fictitious manner. We can't keep taking it. Enough is enough. So if we want to do something about this census, we can either always just come here and talk about it on space, or we take it out and ensure that we get it done. first thing I'll suggest we do is to start making noise. They have to show us the data, and they have to tell us about these technologies that they claim they're going to use. We need to start seeing the figures. We need to start knowing what they're planning. Because you can't come to me and tell me my family we're at 99 when I know we're only 4 in my house, and then there's nothing I can use to cross-check that. It doesn't make any sense. We should have a data, or we can be able to confirm these figures. So if there's any way we can start pushing that out, I would suggest we start using the media houses, and I'll make sure also at the back end we will put that in place. But we need to start making noise, and I suggest everybody does the same. We need to start making noise about the rascality and fictitiousness of these census that they've planned in 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's go to
Otuma, go on. Otuma,
Yeah, I want to take speakers.
just a minute before you take speakers here. Please, guys. I don't know how many of us are in the video. Okay, over 900 of us on the platform. Please let all of us make tweets with postpone 2023 census. I just made a hashtag is up there on the jumbotron, so you can just copy and paste the hashtag. Everybody on the platform, please.
So do we have an hashtag already? Because I said someone said don't count us now. Well, I mean, someone said one to my
don't count us now doesn't reflect.
It doesn't reflect Nigeria. I think it has to reflect Nigeria. It has to reflect the census. You will build a modular refinery for $20 million. We are about to spend 1.8 billion to count to tell how many. We don't even need the census. Let's look at what we have in 2006. 1.8 billion. Sure.
Omo Tumba Buhari that devil. When get man this one, but say that final cash out. Say on the final cash out.
This is his own take on thing. Hey, Mr. Integrity. Let's start. Let me start with General Lucci. Then I'll go to L. Then I'll come back to Ibuka. General Lucci, how are you doing this evening?
Otumba, my brother. Good afternoon. Hello, everyone.
Sorry, General Lucci, please, my brother. We're going to let's take the next 30 minutes. We're going to go back to the judiciary. So I have a lawyer in the building that's going to be handling a judiciary case. But let's try to make these submissions as short as possible. General Lucci, welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, Saddam. How is everyone doing? Okay, so it's good when we come here to discuss, because this space has become like our own town hall meeting where we get to brainstorm, diffuse, deflect, and do all sorts of things. So I appreciate you always sparing time to sit here for hours. It's not easy hosting a space. So I just wanted to say a couple of things, not about the census thing. What I wanted to say is something has been bothering me for a while.
General, if it's not about the census, then I think we can wait till after. We're going to wrap up the census.
All right. Okay. Sounds good.
Yes, we'll come back to you now.
Yeah,
Okay, let's go to L. Saddam, remember L from Clubhouse? Yeah,
Oh my god. Hi, Otumba. Hi, Emir. You see, the thing is, I actually wanted to just sit and listen because I come here and I like to listen. But the thing is, I just had to talk because I've been trying to call out this census scam since last year, and it's crazy. I felt like my voice was getting drowned. And the thing is, this is more than we think. It's different when one person is stealing for their pockets, and then one person, and then a group of people on their political party are stealing to fulfill their ambitions. This theft is more than individual theft. If you notice, the theft is happening across all major organizations in Nigeria. To me, this is done to fund APC because they know they're coming out and they want to do the last stealing. So APC has decided to rob Nigeria dry because they would do it and back each other up. Nobody will come and question them or speak anyhow. Now, I made a tweet tagging National Population Commission. That is their Twitter handle for anybody that wants to go and start, tweeting. I feel we should actually tag them. They go to that Twitter space and they release information in bits so that it looks like they're informing the Nigerian public, but they are not. They're trying to gaslight people. The other thing I said was, Syrup Nigeria, because I kind of tried to tag agencies. I said, Syrup Nigeria, find out why National Population Commission urgently wants to conduct a census in April before a new government handover. They had 7 years to do this, and now they are making such a huge financial decision months to possible, like Peter Obi's new government. This must stop. So the thing is, they're gonna keep going on. This is a way to steal the pockets dry, and it must happen, whether anybody likes it or not. So I feel like our best chance, because when I was even complaining, it was just 400 billion. They had not even increased it to 1.8. It was 400, and I felt it was outrageous. I was crying, like it was hurting my soul for 400 billion. When I just heard 1.8, that was when I even stopped complaining, because I was like, you know what? At this stage, there's no point. They tried to delay the census so that at the end of 8 years, Peter Obi comes in. Let's just say someone like Peter Obi comes in, he cannot do another census right away. So to me, that's not going to work. If at all eventually Peter Obi comes, we overhaul these useless governments, these thieves, send them packing, and then make sure that we hold Peter Obi to account to perform a new census. Really, I don't want us to get distracted, because everything in Nigeria now is corrupt. I can't even shout again, because 1.8, when I think about it, it gives me headache. So I can't even complain too much. So they know what they're doing. They know that this census, whether anybody likes it or not, they want to give northern Nigeria India's population. They want to do it. And another thing that I wanted to mention, they said they're not going to do religious, to count religion. I found that very fishy, because in a demography like Nigeria, like, is it truthful to say you don't want to find out Nigeria's actual really, like, religious demographic? Like, it didn't make sense. Nigeria is so corrupt. I can't even complain. Please, start National Population Commission. Go to their Twitter page. If that's the least we could do, as we're doing the hashtag, go to their page. They go there and release information in bits. To them, they've told us. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. In census, I think you want to know several data points. Religion, as much as you can. Age group. Yeah, not just, there's so many things it's used for. So, thank you for that. Ebuka, are you there?
Well, I do. The also I do. For the census, for me, I just
Brother, are you with headphones, or are you far from your phone?
Right downstairs.
Can you hear me? Better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Osuma, can you hear me now? Okay. I just feel it's a big scam, huge scam, like poverty capital of the world, and the next thing you are spending over ₦1 trillion counting people. In this same census, that that they will see count camels, donkeys, and stuff like that, you will still get accurate data. So what is now the point? So it's obvious that these guys want to use this as a last-minute cash out. You buy fire trucks of each of them 1.2 billion, and you even have the F1 to come on social media to talk about it. So it's obvious. We don't need to run up. See, for me, I feel all these Tinubu in France, Blapsic, blah blah blah, interim government, they're just trying to distract us from the main goal. The issue is this: they are trying to siphon money that will last for them and their families for the next 20 years. And I think this is what we should start people calling out. All these ones that they tell us, your presidency, I don't fucking care about all these things. Mine is this: these guys should not run this country. So that even when Peter gets his mandate, it doesn't make it so hard for him to start from scratch to help to rebuild this country. That's my own opinion about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ebuka. Thank you so much. Please, if you want to speak about the census, please raise your hand. We have Beju, go ahead, sister.
Hi, Otuva. Hi, Amir. Thanks for this education on the census. Chima, I just have a couple of questions for you, please. The first one being that how long is this census going to take? First of all, when is it starting? And then how long is this whole census going to take to be completed? And then based on the elections, the report was that there were difficulties in getting into riverine areas and all of that. So based on that, I know we don't know the specifics of what the NPC is actually doing, But will the census be able to be conducted in such a time that all those riverine areas that they claimed in Rivers that they couldn't get they couldn't set up polling units and everything? How will they navigate all of that within that period of time? And then the other question, and I thank you so much for your research, but my other concern is, do you actually think that even the most intentional and well-meaning efforts can actually stop this? Because I was looking online, in a couple of weeks can actually cause a postponement based on what the obedient movement itself has been fighting against with this particular administration and what Peter Obi has severely gone through. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There is a story by Guardian newspaper. The story was written on the 26th of March, and they were quoting the news agency of Nigeria. The headline is "FG confirms May 3 for commencement of 2023 census." So, according to Dr. Garuba Abari, member of the Publicity and Advocacy Committee on 2023 National Population and Housing Census, he confirmed this on Sunday. So, the exercise, according to this man that was quoted by the Guardian newspaper, will start on May 3 and end on May 5. Initially, it was supposed to be 7 days, but from what I'm seeing on the Guardian now, it has been cut down to 3 days. So that is the answer, May 3 to May 5th. Second is, do I believe in citizens?
I'm coming. They want to count over 200 million people in 3 days.
That's what they are saying. Except
where you be mumu. Buhari and NPC are the most foolish set of people will come this earth. Wait, with 700,000 people, they want to count 200 million people in 3 days. What a miracle! Kai! These people don't. Hey, God have mercy. God have mercy. Chima.
Yes.
Chima, please. Thank you. God bless you, my brother, for bringing this up. Because I tell you, I kid you not, we as a movement we have been so distracted. What we are meant to talk about, we don't talk about it. Thank you for bringing this up. Because this will determine the future of the next 8 years, probably the next 16 years.
Correct.
This man will just go and count and tell you, Bordeaux have 35 million people.
Anambra has 200,000.
Anambra has 200,000. Hey, my God have mercy. Hey, God have mercy. Oh my goodness. Omo, thank you, my brother. I mean, let us
Saddam, something just crossed my mind now. You know, the best time they could have actually done that census was before the election. But they didn't. But right now, they want to kill two birds with one stone. So now they are trying to have enough money they can, retire with. And at the same time, they are creating a platform for the incoming government in a way that whatever they want to borrow will be based on the amount of people they counted. And they will be like, they are trying to cater for so amount of. And trust me, when they do the counting now, it's definitely going to be over 200 million. It will be over 250 million, to be honest. So by that time,
like 280.
Thank you. So they are paving way for the incoming government. As they think, that okay, when you get in, there is no money, you need to borrow. So whoever you're borrowing from knows they will help you with money that will cater for 260 million people. These guys are demonic. I just hope there could be a systematic way we can go about this, because now it's like we have two major tasks at hand right now: this censor and getting back our demands. I hope we can just do this systematically, because the both are important, honestly speaking. That's just the honest truth. So we need to strategize and figure out a way to make sure this doesn't happen. I yield.
Thank you, bro. Please, guys, I changed the hashtag to please to postpone Nigerian census. Please, I didn't want to make it just postpone census 2023. Postpone Nigerian census 2023, please, guys. So let us make multiple tweets with the hashtag postpone Nigerian census 2023. It is very, very important to trend this stuff. It's very, very important that we focus on the main issues. Let us, please, if Tinubu wants to die wherever he is, let him die there. Whatever happens there, that's not our business, man, because these people are going to join us different stuff to distract us while they steal and shape the narrative of our future for the next couple of years. It is very important we focus on this census and on judiciary. For me, that would be our. If they let them go open, let them go and bring P2B sex tape. Let them go and bring P2B with gun where he's robbing CBN with video and everything every day. Let them go and bring when P2B carrying knife cut person head. Video. Breaking news. You don't consign us, please. Let these bastards continue to wallow in their propaganda. Let us focus on real issues. Hold this government accountable. Failed. Everything Buhari's government has conducted in this country has failed. Epic failure. Everything. Not one. You can't point to one thing and say, okay, let's give him a pass mark and say he should let him retire to your Daura or to Nigerian Republic in peace. You have destroyed Nigeria enough. So let's say no to this census, guys. Thank you. To my left, I don't know. I think I don't know what happened to to Chima. So I think we'll allow people. Let's allow people probably ask questions or comment on it. Then we'll be going straight to.
He's requesting the mic. You want to bring him up? Okay, yeah.
Let's bring him back up.
Let's take the last set of questions. Let's go to Mary White. Then we'll go to after Mary White. We'll go to Mr. Akanji. I think I pronounced it correct. And then we'll go.
Otumba, I've been on the space since though.
Gloria, don't worry, I'm coming to you, Gloria.
Okay.
I see you. So we'll go Mary White. Okay. So let's go Mary White, and then we'll go. Sorry.
Otumba, she can go. I can wait. I can go after her.
Gloria, go first. Gloria, go first.
Then I'll go. I don't mind waiting.
Yeah, Gloria, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Emma. Good evening, Otumba. And good evening, everyone. And
sorry, can you see Chima? Sorry, can you see him? Did he fall off or?
Yeah, I'm trying to bring him back up. I don't know why he's not accepting.
Okay, go ahead.
Chima, can you drop and request the mic again, please? Thank you.
to be honest, I think Nigeria employed the least among us to rule us. I think Buhari regime, they are the most corrupt in the world. Not even in Nigeria, not even Africa, in the world entirely. I've never seen criminals. In fact, the whole people are criminals. They're all criminals from the aviation to everywhere. They're all criminals. The census, like here in other countries, the way they do census is that they come over, they drop something for you. They give you like 6 weeks or 7 weeks to go through, write every name of the family, every member of the family, where they work, and you submit it back. That is how they read the census over the countries that I know. In Nigeria, how can they do census within 3 days? I don't know, Chima, I've been following for a very long time. To be honest, I think we have to take Chima's talk very seriously. I remember when he was talking about the election period, when he's talking about the what's it called? The thing they use in voting.
Beavers.
Beavers. When he was talking about the beavers, he was talking about the number of population. He was saying all these things, but I think a lot of us did not listen. Because I follow Chima, to be honest, everything this guy is saying is just reality. This census, why they have to postpone it? I don't know why he wants to do census. I don't know what. I think they just want to steal. They want to embezzle the light embezzlement. And they want to falsify figures. Because we don't even know the real number of Nigerians. Look at the election. They say we have 90-something million registered voters. At the end of the day, we didn't even have up to 25 or 26 million that voted. I don't think Nigeria is up to 200 million, to be honest. I don't think we're up to 200 million. I think Nigeria is between 120 million to 130 million. I don't think we're up to that. That's
when they tell Lagos has 20 million people, I feel like, which Lagos?
Lagos, so they say 7 million in Lagos. It's not even up to 1.20 that voted in Lagos. Oh my God, these people are criminals. In fact, we have to tweet this. They have to postpone the census. Let the new government, whoever that is going to take over, let them do the census. Remember when Goodluck Jonathan was the president of Nigeria? They were trying to do census. I remember some of the northern elders refused. They then refused for the census to be carried out. Because some of them know the truth. They know that.
Thank you guys. Okay. I'm here.
President, maybe cancel it and redo it. I don't know if it's possible. We don't have to allow them to go with this census because I think it's going to cost more. They're going to keep embezzling money if they proceed with this census. Anyway, that's all I have to say now. Thank you. I hit my mic.
Chima, you want to answer that?
Yes, I'm not sure. I was fiddling with my phone when the questions came. Could you recap them for me, please?
She just asked, I think she asked. Okay, go on.
Yeah, Chima,
yes.
I said that if we cannot be, if they refuse, if they refuse to listen to our request, they continue with this census. Can the new government, who is going to come, whoever, I think it's, in fact, anyhow, it's going to be Peter or nobody else. Can the new government redo the census, cancel the previous one? Is it possible?
Well, I my knowledge, I have not researched into that. Maybe we should ask lawyers whether an official gazetted document can be revisited. Looking at our laws. But so that question is for lawyers within us, or maybe that calls for further research. I'll do further research on that.
Let me answer. Let me answer, please. Let me answer you there, please. Mm-hmm. Because forget even about looking at the law now. Look at the optics. You spend 1.8 billion on the census. And then the new government comes in and says, I don't believe that census. Let's start on that one. Do you know the outcry these satanic people who come to the new government? Do you know how much it takes? Do people know how much? You don't have money. This, that. For the amount alone spent on this census alone, any government that comes in will be scared to conduct a census immediately. Just for that amount alone. I think that's why I'm not even going to law. I'm just saying for optics alone.
When you spend $1.8 billion.
Let me read something for you. I'm reading from the cable newspaper. The title of the story is Fact Check. Is the North's population 160 million exclaimed by a Northern coalition? So let me quote them correctly. Politics is a game of numbers, and we have the numbers. We are 120 million in population from the north. Then the Fulani have 40 million in population. If you put that together, that will give you 160 million out of approximately 210 million in the country. When you take 160 million out of 210 million, what is the balance? About 70 million. I cannot see how 70 million will beat 160 million. This is a coalition of 75 northern groups under the aegis of Northern Consensus Movement, claiming that the next president should come from the north because of their clean population. This was reported by the cable newspaper. The story is titled Fact Check. Is the North's population 160 million as claimed by a Northern coalition? So, Saddam, I also sent you the link to this thing. So, maybe this thing will kind of give you an idea into the thinking or how these people think, that they may use official gazettes and the stamp of Nigeria.
Nigeria, they don't count fans.
If you're being in the north, Otumba, if you're being in the north, you just be laughing. You just laugh. I've been on road trips from Jos to Medugri. I've been on road trips from Jos to Medugri. I'm talking about whether it's just a journey of like over. You are taking the money over 10 hours on the road, bro. If you drive for 3 hours, you don't go see anybody.
Nigeria is the first country.
I don't know. So there are so many things that we don't want to say. We don't just say on this platform.
Nigeria is the first country where the farther away you get from a coastal line, the higher population you get. In every other country in the world, your dense population area are coastal lines.
Yes.
US, anywhere. Nigeria is the first country where the farther away you get away from the ocean, the more population there. Don't understand. Like, we they defy Nigeria is defying what APC cannot create those things.
See, and Otumba, this thing you're saying right now, as we're even just speaking about it right now, what APC cannot do and cannot even destroy does not just right now.
APC will destroy energy.
Do you know that the Niger Delta Power Holding Company have just stated that they've approved 6 billion for them. 6 billion. And guess what they want to build? They want to build a clubhouse and a canteen.
APC will destroy energy. You know the
energy. A clubhouse. I'm talking to you just right now.
Hey God.
6 billion naira to build a clubhouse and a canteen.
The person whenever Trump puts his day president, will come online and shout. They shout.
Mandate. How much is sand?
They find giveaway.
And it's so very. They said a perimeter fence. The perimeter fence will cost 532 million naira. Ha! NPC. Ha!
Structure of criminality.
Their gatehouse. A gatehouse. The house that is going to be in front of the gate. The gatehouse cost 89 million naira. Jesus Christ.
It's made of Sarah, but to be fair, vibranium is expensive. You have to understand.
My God.
Vibranium is expensive. There is vibranium gates and vibranium fence. So
Otumba, do that. These people, what INEC could not do with 25 million people, NPC said they'll do it with 200 million people. 25 million people, INEC could not count them for like 8 till now they're still counting.
I think
NPC said, pass me the mic. Pass me the mic, Mahmoud. Let me show you how we do it. Pass me the mic, yo. Instead, I will count 250 million people in 3 days. Kai! Oh my God! Hey! I say if APC, when they get to hell, if APC, then we will tell God, say, please create a separate hell for APC. Don't bring them to my chambers because they go do Satan coup. They go do Satan coup, collect power from Satan for empire. These people are evil. You want to count 200 million people? I don't.
Perimeter
fence. We have finished the census, and Nigerians are 200 million. We have 180 million in the north, and the whole remaining region is 100 million. You see why we'll be winning elections all the time.
I think we Northerners, I think we Northerners, we have to start calling this fictitiousness. We have to start calling out this rascality. Yes, I know we call it out, but we need to allow these people to understand that we are sick and tired of their political shenanigans. It cannot hold anymore. If we keep making noise, at least to some extent, it will reduce to some extent, because every single time, and if you check it, even after using the North to portray their fictitious numbers, we're still the poorest people. I say this all the time. You won't come to the street or go to the street of Lagos, you won't find an Igbo man begging money. Let us come to our senses and just stop using these. Let these politicians just stop imputing this craziness in your head. We're in power, we are in power. What do we have to show for it? No education system, no lights, no water. We went to a village in Borno State. This village has been existing before independence. Before independence, they have been there. And they have never had water to drink. For them to drink water, they travel. They practically travel with their horses and their camels to go and bring fetch water that they'll keep in the house for them to use. It is absurd. How much is borehole? When we did the borehole in that village, we didn't even use up to 7 million. So I don't understand. We're in power. We are the ones ruling. We've ruled for how many billion years, but we are still the poorest people. And now they're trying to use this census to use us again to get what they want. We need to wake up, I beg.
My sister, so wake up. Mary White, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. My brother Chima, hi. Thank you so much for always coming at the nick of time, because I think you are actually God sent. From backing up on what Vote LP said, I do remember that you were one of the voices that was actually trying to bring our attention to the beavers. Some people at that time thought that you were someone that was bringing us like false hope. But I do remember how you shouted and you kept on saying about some integrity test, and you actually one of those that pushed for that sham of an integrity test that INEC did, which we all know didn't work on election day. So thank you so much for really coming out at this time to shine our eyes on really what's going on. My to all obedience that we should listen to him. We shouldn't make it like the same way it was during INEC before the election, because he did come out and he did what we didn't listen. So let's not repeat what happened the last election this time around for the census. So I know everyone has said a lot of things about how APC is corrupt. We know they are corrupt. It's been confirmed that they are corrupt, and they will do anything possible to ensure that they take the last bit. They, I guess, milk the country dry before they leave. So my question to you, Chima, is, I know everyone has been talking about this huge sum of money, $1.2 billion, which translates to a lot of naira.
No, it's $1.88 billion.
Thank God. Even just as give me a heart attack, but that's okay. So my question is, with this money, do we know what is gonna cover? Because my thing about this census is not only the fact that it's just gonna be in a short amount of time, which to me is just bull, but then it's like, are they gonna be able to go into places like IDP?
Please, sorry, before you ask your question, please don't listen. Please, APC, please. I beg, let me beg. Please, APC, just call us and share this money for us. I beg. And announce the number. Just call us and share the money for us. And announce this number. Announce what you want to announce.
You do give away.
Just to give away and announce this number. Because we don't let people call your number. We don't let you people will not count anybody. Please, spare us. Let us not pass through Jega again. Mahmoud, I beg. Just call us and give Nigerians this money. Every family, collect your share. Then say, North, 180 million. South, 100 million. Let us rest, because that's where we end. Thank you. May I continue?
For me, I don't want their money. What I want is for them to channel it to the right sources. Give it to people that, not that I don't need it, but give it to people that really need it. Especially like Sarah had said, like the minimum wage, use it to bring it up so that people could actually feed their family, use it to do things that they actually want them to do instead of sharing the money. But if they do give it to me, hey, I will take it and maybe give it back. But my question to you, Chima, is like the $1.88 billion is just a lot of money, but do we know what it entails? Because like I said, my problem is, even if this census is going to be conducted, are they going to be able to go into places like IDP camps and like places that are ravaged by Boko Haram? There's some communities in the north that you can't even set foot.
Mary.
No, wait.
This is not vote to me.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's some places like Imo State. There's like some parts of the state that elections could not even happen, and you see what happens. Like
the population number for Imo State is already someone they already reached that amount. That population for Imo you are talking about is already in their desk. They know the number they give to Imo. It will be more because they have ABC governor. So
my question is,
wait, they want to count 200 million people in 3 days. That's all you need to know.
Nigeria is really a crime scene. APC is truly a terrorist party, and I know they're all listening. God will punish, I don't talk like this, but God will punish each and every one of you, because you guys do not mean well for this country. You don't. And I pray that I know we'll get back our country. So, we as civilians should keep doing what we're doing to ensure that because we can't allow these thieves to keep going on their way. If not, Nigeria it's gonna be left with zero in their account. But Chima, if I could just finish my question, do we know what this $1.88 billion is going to cover. My own part is when it comes to security. And if we don't, is there any way we could ensure that we do know what it's going to cover? Like, however way we can find out. That's really what I want to say. But before I go, but thank you so much, my brother, for what you do. I do appreciate you. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
God bless you too, my dear sister. Your comments are quite appreciated. About the transparency, of course, you know that there is no transparency, so it's difficult for even the most forensic experts to track, using the limited information that is publicly available, what they are going to be doing with the money. Apart from the sound bites that they release, let me read this from the Conversation Africa, theconversation.com. The level of public and professional awareness of the census is also very low. The NPC website has no information on milestones and preparedness. Census is a huge scientific responsibility that requires high level of preparedness, transparency, and quality assurance. Unfortunately, these three things are not coming from the NPC. As we speak today, even the governing laws of the census is still shrouded in secrecy, let alone the tiny details of where the monies will be spent on. We don't know what laws they are going to implement the census on. We don't. Okay, I know that there is a national population policy of 2019, but there are a whole lot of things we don't know. Okay, even for INEC even tried to give us a June 22 INEC guideline that shows you, okay, what the electoral officers are supposed to be doing, how many EOs are supposed to be at the polling unit, what their responsibilities are. In the case of NPC, it's total blackouts. Nobody knows what they are doing. Nobody knows how many people will come to your house and what questions they will be asking and how they will transmit that data from your house to the final collation point. Nobody knows what the processes are, and let alone discussing the money. So nobody knows, and if you leave the Nigerian thing, it's more than likely that nobody will know. Thank you, dear sister, for your comments and kind words.
Thank you, Mira. Thank you, Chima. Let's go to a guy. Let's go to what many Nigeria, my brother. How you there?
Yeah, Chima. Crazy. I've not this is the second time I'm speaking on the stage since probably Friday. This is the most people. I mean, my account got suspended. Or it's suspended till now, anyways. So Twitter, I just said, man, I cannot. It's very difficult being on Twitter. Like I've been seeing a lot of nonsense since Friday, and just like trying to carry the scene, and it's very difficult just being on the timeline seeing a lot of things you can't respond to. So I just say, man, guy, you need to just need your phone, and every once in a while come around. Okay, I'll just quickly on this census issue. I'll quickly just give my take on it. And there's something Jimmy said about how this is something that we have to be very systematic about, and I think even Chima, well done. I've been with Chima in a couple of weeks, like leading to the election, especially on my interest piece. I've been with Chima, it's crazy. Anyway, it's something that I have to, approach very systematically. So I'll just give my take on it and like some systematic thoughts, really. So the first thing I would like to say, I know Chima has precisely said 7 months, but because this is something we need to push for actively, to be honest, and targeted wise, not even really, the push for our mandate is a scatter fire approach. The push for this has to be as much as possible targeted, really, because it's not really like a political push. It's not really like Peter Obi or BJS or LP really pushing for this. This should be really like a targeted kind of push. So the first thing I would say is that I don't know why Chima specifically said 7 months, but I know he has a good reason for it. But what I would have suggested, to be honest, is we need to be emphatic about the fact that this should be postponed till the final court decision on who becomes president of Nigeria. And I'm emphasizing to you because, of course, we know that tribunal is 180 days and all that. They're about 6 months, like less than within that period. And all that. But what I'm emphatic about that is because if we, push this with just 7 months in mind, and believe me, everybody in the city 7 months might still, be able to do whatever they want to do. So I'll just recommend, I don't know if Chima has a reason for 7 months, then it's fine. I mean, that's really emphatic. But my own reason is that we should be more it should be until, we shouldn't even be talking about census now, to be honest. Let's confirm our selection and we and make sure that our court has said, okay, this is what it is, before we start talking about census. That's one. Then two, another thing I think we should also push for, which I don't know if anybody has said it earlier, is we need to also push for, government to bring in or to contract. I've already sent this to Saddam in Nigeria, but I know Saddam will be free by now, so I just decided to request the mic to save myself. We need to also push for the federal government to contract, whether or not, even if after the new president, Peter Obi, becomes president, I'm saying that we need to push for the federal government to contract an external audit or rather not like either an international auditing firm, or even possibly, I don't know how possible it is, if it's the United Nations, if they have a provision for those kind of things, to oversee and audit the process from beginning to end. We need to also push for that, because the truth is, this process, it will be very difficult, whether it's conducted now or it is conducted in 2 years' time. Even when Peter Obi is president, it might be very difficult to control the outcome if you don't have it being audited or being looked at from end to end. Then another thing I really just want to also point out for us is that I know it's very difficult. I know somebody that's giving me a gist of how census is conducted. It's easier for a particular region of the country to manipulate this thing, because of course by their tradition, which is to refer to them, it is their tradition. If a census officer comes to your house, of course, unlike in let me just specify, like in the south, where if you come to your house, the gate is open, you just walk into the gate and all that. But to be honest, that is a tradition, and I mean it's a good one, to be honest. I'm not even talking about. If you go to your house and the gate is open, you lock the gate by yourself and knock. You don't just walk in and all that, which is very fair on. So it's usually very easy when the officers get there and they get to the house and they tell you, sorry, you can't see out. So number of person in this house, sorry, you can't see them for so reason. You can't argue and just give you a number and you take it and you go. And that's how really they manipulate this thing. So my point is about that is that for this kind of fight I want to fight, or for this kind of push I want to do, I also recommend that as much as possible, I know I just did it because I know it's very difficult not to do. But I just recommend as much as possible, let's, try to reduce the regional narrative of it. I have a vision, so to see what APC is trying to do in Nigeria, APC is trying to polarize Nigeria across every line. Release on tribe. See, anything that is polarizing in Nigeria, APC is polarizing it. So, and I don't really want us to give them one narrative, because the best thing to say is, believe me, if we push this along regional line, along the line of, say, we want them to stop it because we know they will give not bigger numbers, like push that narrative, all APC needs to just do, she just go to the north and say, people in the south are fighting people, they are saying this and that and that and this and that. And believe me, whatever efforts we are making now to say this is stop, you will see people will end up and say, no, we want it. And by the time we have that defined, it's going to be a problem. So I really want to just beg us. I know it's very hard to ignore that, but I really want to just beg us as much as possible. Channel this more towards what Sarah said, towards the cause. I mean, that one the episode want to use, if they need to sponsor farmers in the north, believe me, Nigeria will be, I don't know. I mean, they really use it to sponsor farmers. You can put that in the narrative. It's better than putting the narrative of, they want to, add one number. Even if you know what it is, like we know what it is, but we should just try to, as much as possible, keep that. And finally, someone said earlier that, what if this is done and when Peter Obi becomes president, what can we do? Another? I can think one of the things that Peter Obi can do, and I'm saying this because I know every now and then people listen to these things and all that, is, of course, if the audition was not done now, Peter Obi as president can see implement that auditing to check whatever we do in the census. We want to find out. And lastly, please let's be very specific on what Chima said as to how to push this. Or let's be very conscious. Please, this is very direct. If you know anybody that is in the media, tell them to be pushing this information, like to be talking about this more often. If you know anybody that is political in the House of People, whatever, tell them to push. I mean, any way you want to do it, really, please do it and be very, very direct. And that's the only way we can push it, because of course we already have getting back our mandate in our hands, and if we want to push this the same way, it's going to be very everybody. So I really want us to be very direct with this. If you have people that can, push it directly, especially the media, to be honest, whether the media, conventional media, whatever media you have to push it. If you have people in the House of Fair, if you have people that are just elite, literally, anyway you want to push it, just push it as much as you can. I need the mic.
Thank you, my brother. Let me answer the question. By the way, I like what you said about trying to manage the optics and the emotions around North-South divide in Nigeria. We have to find ways to intelligently communicate what we want to communicate without necessarily offending some people, because you're dealing with a cross-cultural and multi-platform and multi-ethnic nation. So I like that, and I want to beg all our influencers to choose their words carefully, especially in the ways that we can get even some of our brothers in the north who will look at the obvious injustice and side with us, instead of giving their politicians more talking points to radicalize them. So I agree with you there, well-meaning Nigerian. Thank you for that. I'm calling for it to be postponed by at least a factor of 7 months, because I've been looking at the reality. One is that the census is funded by the 2022 budget, which was extended twice, partly because of the census. Now, I am aware that a substantial part of those monies have been released, and these people will rather die than to refund that money. And then you know that once the budget elapses, any money that was not spent as at the time the budget elapsed will have to revert to the federation account. These people will rather, in fact, it is more than likely that those monies are now in private accounts, in offshore accounts, some of them. I'm not alleging, I don't have facts, but I'm saying that this is more than likely. And so if you push the census away from that budget cycle, you have a law and order issue. Of course, in Nigeria, there are a lot of ways they can get around law and order issues. But when you have money with people and then you tell them not to spend the money, and once that budget times out, they're supposed to return the money, and now you have them running between returning the money, and so it's going to be a whole lot of mess. I mean, already, if we want to critique NPC, they're already in hot soup now. If they cross to another budget cycle, they will be in hotter soup if there's a government that is willing to critique the activities. So that's why I'm saying, even within the extended budget cycle, we can still do something and then still allow for time. Now, what will happen is this. If major stakeholders in Nigeria want to take up the census, for instance, they will take up the census and halt the census. What I don't like is that attitude of people not caring until things spoil. There are a lot of stakeholders who, when they get involved in this matter, Nigeria will have no option other than to postpone the census. The problem is trying to convince those stakeholders to take this issue as an advocacy thing for them. So that's why I'm looking at, one, the time it will take those stakeholders to advocate for the issue, the time it will take for people to independently audit the systems, and the time we can take to at least amend minimal sections of the law. I know going to amend the constitution will be a difficult thing that we can achieve in 7 months, but even moderately tweaking the NPC Act, for instance, that we can achieve that in less than 3 or 4 weeks. And then if we are serious about it, and the next session of the National Assembly is serious about that, then about one more thing is about election litigation. By our laws, I think there are 190 days for the election petition tribunal, and then I think about 90 people, if I'm wrong, I don't have the exact numbers, but I think, give or take, we should have around 260 or 270 days between the time they file the petition and the time the Supreme Court is expected to give their final this thing, except if you're talking about pre-election cases. But if it is the election cases, there's a definite time frame, and the 7 months I talked about allowed for that time frame to be factored in. We don't know how the courts will decide, but we have given them enough time to factor in their decision to allow the new government form and stabilize, and then go ahead with the census, or try to also extend the 2022 budget into 2024. it is possible if accountants can deal with this. If we cannot spend that money and we have approved for it and released it, either we find a way to build it into the 2023 Appropriations Act, or we'll push it to the 2024 Appropriations Act. So people who are, lawmakers here should find a way to account for those monies without anybody being in offense of any law, especially about appropriations law. So we can push it further than that if we make the right legal framework around it. So that will be my explanation. Well, meaning Nigeria.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think now I heard like at least 7 months, and that's really what it should be. I totally agree. I do that. But please, let's not also forget whatever it is, let's also push for an external auditing of the process. Totally. Not anything that is 100% Nigeria, whoever it is, we always have that who kill it.
Thank you very much. External auditing, you want me to make the budget go to 37.3 billion. So just call how money where you go here. These people, hey, NPC, I share that party. God have mercy. God have mercy. Ha! Buhari. Oh, yeah, I think Chima, I have to close your session in the next 8 minutes because we have to jump to the judiciary right now. Because
yes.
Honestly, please, thank you for bringing it to our consciousness. It's now our duty on this platform. Every day we'll be talking about the census. We'll be giving our time, mapping our time for this stuff. We have to discuss about this. Obedience on the platform, please. Please. You guys should tweet with the hashtag postpone Nigerian census 2023. Make multiple tweets with it as we always do. Let it be that before the end of this night. It is trending already as we normally do. Please. Thank you very much. I don't know if someone asked the question again.
No, yeah. I think let's go to. I know Marianne. We'll go to Ayomide. We'll go to Agad and Tyler. That will be the last set of questions, I believe. So, Marianne, your question, quick, 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay, actually, mine is a question and also I think a submission too. Yes, I'll start by saying thank you, Chima, for bringing this to our notice, because honestly speaking, I've been hearing about this census, but almost this election thing just in my mind, like, I don't even reason now. But as we afford this billion, we get money like this. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Who give you money? Who give you? You borrow money, say you get money. Who got you? Don't borrow your future. Borrow your
I don't hear billion.
I don't know billion for your future.
That firefighting truck, I don't know whether now fullness will they get. I don't even know. If they get any natural disaster where they emit fire from ground where we did, I don't even know. So as they come out from that one, so please, I don't know. I've been trying while the whole this thing was going on. I've been trying to find out about the people involved with this census thing, like those guys on board, like the guys that have sat down and have felt the need to steal $1.8 billion from us. You understand? So I don't know, because me, I've not seen. I've been trying to check. I've not seen. Like, I've been trying to go through and know who are those people that constitute the board that sat down, so that we'll tell them that we see them and maybe they should sit down again and have a rethink. And another thing I want to know, I don't know if it is okay, because as far as we going about to campaign against this, I don't know if we can call the attention of those people that used to borrow us money that we used to squander like this. Tell them, see, these people want to do another nonsense. We don't trust them. We are the one we try to trust them. They did nonsense. We are trying to know how to go about it, and now they want to do another one. See, anything they are bringing out, if they decide to go against us again and do what they want to do, any figure they are giving out is terribly skewed. Like, it's just to extort money from them. Yes, I don't know if we can call their attention. So I don't know if it's a question or a suggestion or a submission. Thank you very much.
So can I quickly respond to maybe a bit of what she said?
Yeah, please just go on. Yeah.
So first of all, I'm going to post the names and then the pictures of most of the people in NPC. Possibly maybe your neighbor will be one of them. So at least in the middle of the night, can help us to plug Oraimo code and flog him from the window. At least as they are stealing from us, let them be feeling the pain wherever they are. Then about these people that always borrow us money, I just want to say this, that for the incoming government, it's going to be quite difficult. I think about 2 days ago, there was this huge media backlash on our current debt status as Nigerians. So the debt status of Nigeria right now, practically everybody, the amount of money we're even owing, as you're standing right now, if they say we should start money for us to pay the debts that we owe, everybody will actually bring about 200,000+ naira. That is how much. And see what China did to us. We recently asked for, was it $22 billion or 220
They told us no. That they
told us no.
Billion.
Like
they went for 1 billion. They told us no.
If you even watch the it's so embarrassing, because this is what we've turned ourselves into to the international community. We've turned ourselves into beggars. We've turned ourselves into a country that cannot even fund themselves, a country that cannot even feed themselves. And the country that we are talking about is the same country that should be feeding the entire nation, or the entire world rather. This same country we're talking about is a country that has the capacity to feed the whole of Africa. Nigeria, like our natural resources alone. Do you know what it means for you to be able to wash pepper in your house, throw it outside, and then you say that it is growing? Do you know how lucky it is that you have a fertile soil that you can feed yourself, but you don't want to do anything about it because you have leaders that just want to steal and corrupt the entire process? So we have these countries already looking at us like these ones are not serious. Here they are again. We're always borrowing. Every single time we're borrowing. 4 days ago, China told us no. They even told the no was not just a no, we're not doing. It was no with plenty reasons. We're owing them a lot of money. If you go to this train station right now, you see Chinese flags everywhere. You won't even find a Nigerian flag. Sometimes I used to think whether they've sold that land and that entire place and everybody living there. They've sold them to the Chinese.
I trust China. China will own everything. They own the land, the resources on that.
That's the thing.
People that cannot read, people that are in Buhari's government that cannot read English. Is that Chinese they will read? And all China contracts are in Chinese. Buhari, they will just write everything at the end of the contract, not write the amount. They write in Chinese. As we are giving you this money in the next 15 years, if you don't repay us back, we are taking your airport. In Jinkin, Pinjin. All they are looking for is amount. When they don't see where money there, Buhari could just go sign. He could just sign immediately. You don't know whether he does not know the contract details, does not know anything. These people are so Nigerians. Nigerians.
Well, Mandarin is the new English anyway. Start learning it.
Hey, that's even small. If you know you live anywhere close to where they put any Chinese facility that they've collected load from, better start moving from there, because you will hear tomorrow that they've sold you to. You will just see them. They won't even bring boats to carry you. They will bring bike, Mikano bike, to put all of you on it. To go and be working in factories.
But the biggest mistake Nigeria made was 2015. Honestly, that mistake has cost us. APC should never have happened to this country. APC should never have happened to this country.
They got in there, they got into power using propaganda, and that is all they know.
They got in because we had a weak good luck Jonathan.
No, they got in using propaganda. Yeah, everybody was talking about the Chibo. Yeah. Everybody was talking about the Chibo girl.
Propaganda was fire. I was part of it. But good luck Jonathan.
Look at you now.
Good luck Jonathan was a pushover. Please, I've never seen someone so weak like that in my life. A weakling. I am meeting my brother. Come in.
Yes. Yeah, good evening from here. Thank you so much, Chima. I've been following from the days of, you calling for scrutiny as regards the INEC process, before the whole thing happened. One thing, one fact that we have to accept again is the fact that Nigerians are not thorough. Like I've had to, witness quite a number of processes like this before. Back then, 2006 census. They did not, in my area back then, they did not eventually get to all of the houses. So I can just imagine somebody, that has gone to, maybe after a couple of persons have gone to do the counting, and then, they come back, they said, okay, they say they are not able to go to all the houses. Somebody can just sit down somewhere and just, project and just give numbers at the end of the day to make sure that, okay, they were able to come up with something. So, like I got a quote from Peter Obi recently. He said, people don't do what is expected, they do what is inspected. In Nigeria, when it comes to monitoring and evaluation, it is obvious that we are not doing well. I mean, like we don't do well when it comes to monitoring and evaluation. And why should we? This is a government that has not even done one single thing right. You can't give what you do not have. Everything rises and falls on leadership, of course. But this government has proven that no, we cannot do anything right. So if you have not done one single thing right, why should we entrust you with, going ahead to go and spend that much money? And like one of the reasons why I even requested for the mic was StatiSense. They've been, releasing some statistics, since maybe yesterday or so. And where Saddam was talking the other time, and somebody said, maybe they will just say Borno 35 million. Anambra 200,000. I have been reading comments from those StatiSense posts. You will see something like, how many are they, because Anambra is doing well, they will say, how many are they in Anambra? So, and it is already looking like these people, I'm not trying to cause a divide here, but I am just talking based on what I have observed, what I have seen. They are, they are likely to undermine the population of people in the South and just be like, okay, just assign one small number, some places, give big numbers to some places. So now, one of my concerns now is the fact that, okay, how do we sustain this? Because yes, we are easily distracted. How do we sustain the call for, because after today now, after, 1 day, 2 days, we might just, forget about that. There are a lot of things calling for attention right now. So my question will be going directly to Chima in this regard that, okay, what measures do we put in place? Yeah, I know you've mentioned quite a lot of things here, but I just want us to, have those things in place because yes, truly, this election must not, this census should not happen right now as it stands because yes, you cannot give what you do not have. And I would also like to mention something. We have to spotlight the money that was spent on the election. They spent over 300 billion on the election. Nothing happened. We could not get something substantial. And it's the principle of life. If you are not faithful in little, you cannot be faithful in much. If you have not proven yourself to manage and to do an election, to conduct an election, managing over 300 billion, how should we trust you? Why should we trust you to deliver a census that will be, gulping 1.88 billion naira dollars? It is not possible. You can never do it. So it is they have made it so obvious that they want to just do the die minute, cash out. That is what they want to do. So, we just have to, sustain this thing and make sure that okay, I keep saying election, this census doesn't happen. And one last thing I would like to mention, I recollected the video that I watched of a man. I've been trying to look for the video. I couldn't find it. These numbers, let's even say these numbers, they are getting these resources to these places and they are using the resources judiciously. It would have been fair. But this man said one thing in that video that day. He said, even though our people are in power, I'm paraphrasing him now, even though our people are in power, we are being marginalized. And that is what they have been doing so far. So right now, we have to sustain the energy. So my own concern really is sustaining it because yes, this election tribunal thing is calling for attention. So how do we, in the midst of all this, ensure that we still get to achieve our goal in this? Thank you.
Thank you. Since I have just 8 minutes, which I think we've spent, let me take the last question and then sum up all the answers in one summary, and then we'll take it from there, so that we don't keep the next speaker waiting for too long.
Yeah. Did she drop? Who was supposed to? Okay. Tailulu. Let's do Tailulu. Then, if you don't mind one more, then Chini.
I'm taking notes so I can take all of them at once, and then so that the next speaker can come up.
Tailulu, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Emir Saddam, Otumba, Jimmy. I hail everybody. This is actually my first time talking here. But all space. Thanks, guys. It's really been a great experience with you guys. Okay, Chima, I want to tell you about my experience.
Yes,
In
please.
2006, I was serving in Kano, so I partook in the 2006 census. So we've been given training like 2 months ahead. We were doing the training just weeks before the census program. We didn't see our name. We're like, what is going on? We're just like non-coppers getting 18K, and this census, they promised us 48K. Nobody wants to miss that. So how come we didn't have our name? Not knowing it was deliberate. So what they did was, I was posted to Tofa local government. That's where I was serving. That is the Tofa guy that competed with MKO
yes.
during the Abiola. Yeah. So I was supposed to be. So I didn't see my name. Later they told me, oh, they've moved our name to another place. Where is the place? They told me Ajingi local government. Ajingi local government from Tofa is about 2.5 hours. This like after Wudi local government. We got there, they told me my name was not there. Guys, it was still deliberate. They gave me another name. I took the name that I'm not going to gog this 48K. I'm going to do this census. I got there. We were posted to the local government staff quarters. We were given rooms there and all of that. All of a sudden, the local government chairman came and was like, welcome, Mr. It was not my name. They won't give you your name. It was deliberate. Mr. Obasi, how are you? I said, that is not my name. He said, well, that's the name you've been given. I said, okay. So all he did was like, okay, we'll be doing the census tomorrow. I said, yes, I know. So what and what? How do I meet with the guys in charge? Okay, I need to, okay, there are some supervisors that are meant to be here. So we need to meet with them. So how do you meet with them? They were like, I should not worry. We'll just get you your interpreter because I don't understand Hausa. So they have to make provisions for you for interpreter. So later, the following morning, this guy just came into our staff quarters and offered everybody 20K. What is this for? I said, no, don't worry that, you know, Shekarau is the governor and he said, okay, they shouldn't pay for any capital project for the month. That you guys we just want you guys to feel comfortable. Okay, no problem. We went there, we went to the census. After we got the materials for the census, we had to go to a place. The next place I was asked to go to is called a village called Kara Dagaji. Kara Dagaji from that Ajingi local government is like another 45 minutes drive.
Hi Doris, I'm going to end the Facebook Live. Thank you for joining. Thank you to everyone who participated. I'm going to leave the Facebook Live now. I'll continue the Twitter Spaces. So if you can, hop onto Twitter. My Twitter account is at Chima Christian _. You will still see the link there to continue the conversation. I have to get off the Facebook now. My battery is almost dying, and then I also have to catch transport to my next location. Thank you so much for joining. Then much more later we'll do much more. I'm grateful for you joining. Thank you so much, especially Doris Monya, who has been here for some time now. Thank you. I'm grateful for your time.